Hey, everybody, I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and you were on the lifeboat. Hold on, just for crabs and giggles. Hey, everybody, I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and you were on the lifeboat. Damn, I'm good at this. You got to admit, this is a well-oiled machine. Electric Boogaloo, second movie. The first movie was just Breaking. I couldn't remember that the other day. And then I was thinking about it afterwards. It was just Breaking because the second was Breaking 2. Good morning from Lakeland, Florida. Mr. Kevin Hawthorne, it is an honor to have you on the lifeboat. Truthfully, glad that you're here, man. It's the weekend, peeps. And you know what that means, right? No, you have no idea what that means. But it's going to mean all kinds of weird things for me. This is going to be, hey, good morning, Perth. All right. Sorry, hold on. Sol, good morning. Sola, sorry. Good morning from Chicago. Nice. Jonathan, good to see you. Tommy Bird, man, what's happening? Dennis N, good to see you. Noni 69. Lene, always fun to see you. I'm not going to lie to you, people. About 15 minutes ago, maybe 10 minutes ago, I was still sleeping. That does not happen to me. Good morning, Allie. Good morning from Michigan, the dirty mitten. Somehow I've never heard that. Even at my my really advancing years. Somehow I've never heard that. That's awesome. It really is awesome. You know, I don't know what it is. Every time I start the lifeboat, I look down at my phone and realize that I have the dirtiest, nastiest phone in all of America. Maybe it's just because it's always lit up if I'm not actually doing the lifeboat, because I swear to God, this thing is in my hand. Way more than it should be. Way more than it should be. But I'm not going to go off on that today. I am, however, going to go off about politics. Are you ready? Buckle up. No, I am going to go off on a rant, but it's not going to be political. This is not going to be a political rant today. It's a Saturday. And I've got friends that don't want to hear my politics. You know what I mean? That really don't. And I get that. And you shouldn't have to. You really shouldn't. I mean, in theory, hey, Balake, good to see you. I mean, in theory, you ought to be able to go say what the hell you want, when the hell you want, where you want, right? Like that should be the way it is. But it doesn't work like that. Right? You know it, and I know it. Squirrel knows it. Allie, this is your first live ever? And you've been clean since 2010 from heroin. That's my drug of choice as well. 2010. Good for you, man. It's a long time. It's a really long time. That could be worthy of the participation trophy. The official lifeboat participation trophy. It's official. Yes, I say it's official. That is fantastic. I love hearing stories about people that are sober that long. I really do. It gives me hope. You've got plenty of time on me. I celebrated 8 years of sobriety on the 26th of 27th technically of June. You know, every time I see you, Maggie May, I want to bust into the Beatles song because it's only about maybe 15 seconds long. It's a really short song. It's definitely the shortest song. I think it might be the shortest song that I've ever seen recorded. It's not a very long song. However, like my friend says, it sounds like I gargle with broken glass. So I'm not going to serenade you Believe it or not, I was voted best voice in high school. Not even kidding you. Way back before I started just beating the ever-loving hell out of my vocal cords. Kathy, good to see you, Kath. Kath's got new stuff up. For those of you who are into really, really, really amazing music, you should stop by and see Kathy. Kathy is gifted, absolutely gifted. I'm always jealous of people that have skill. That's all right, though. I happen to really enjoy her skill. But yeah, I don't know. You look at people that are just so good at what they do, and you think, I honestly wonder what that feels like. You know what I mean? That to me has got to be the question that keeps me awake. Honestly, if I start thinking about, like Eddie Van Halen, you watch Eddie play the Eruption solo, right? And it was just the most technical, ridiculous thing, especially when it first came out. And he's looking at the camera going, making the stupidest faces in the world and giggling and smiling at all of the young ladies in the room and just shredding. And I used to think to myself, how does that feel? What the hell has that got to feel like, right? Sadly, I kind of missed the, you know what, Goddess, thank you. That's the wrong answer. Maybe I did too much dope. I don't think that we really, I certainly didn't have a handle on the fact that I grew up in a place where everybody was ridiculous on skis, right? That I grew up in this itty bitty little town, but the North American, freestyle team was training there. And so we skied with those guys from the time we were like little kids, and we sucked. We weren't very good at it. We just didn't realize. M. Hunt, I'll have to take your word for that. M. Hunt says, having thousands of beautiful women look at you adoringly isn't all it's cracked up to be. I promise. And he would know. M. Hunt is a rock star. Another ridiculously talented musician. By the way, since the odds of this happening are just not very good, so I'm just going to do this. M. Hunt, do me a huge favor. If you see Anik Alexander in here, we need to get the two of you to talk, if at all possible. She's down in the same neck of the woods. She also has a guitar. I think she has a question. There's a couple of different things, but if at all possible, I would like to try to get the two of you guys to talk. And since I don't know any other way, I'm the problem, people. I'll tell you the problem. Maggie May lives by a ski hill. I think we were probably about 5 miles. Charlie Murphy, good to see you. CK, glad you're here. Valerie T-Gun. 7th. How are you, man? And there's Anik Alexander. You know what? To see the both of you in here at the same time, I figured I may as well just do this because what are the odds, right? What are the odds? So today, my rant, like I said, I've been, what? Booyah. I've been 3 weeks narc sober now. The narc games began last night. He writes songs about me and does them with mutual friends, so I'll see it. Bad cognitive dissonance. Yeah, I'm such a terrible person. I'm the wrong person to ask about this. I'm wildly impressed that he's writing tunes. I'm the wrong person. I really am. I have no right weighing in on this, Kathy. I'm not smart enough. This is above my pay grade. But congratulations, because I know that you've been trying to put the narc in the rearview mirror. So I think congratulations. It sounds like, you're doing good. Kind of sounds like he's doing good. He's making an effort, huh? Yeah, stick to your guns, Kath. Stick to your guns, please. You got this. You got this. So I am. There's a whole bunch of new statistics that came out, and I groove to statistics, right? which is really funny because I don't have the brain for that at all. I've got the brain for communication. That's really all I've got the brain for. Like I can communicate, right? I'm a fairly decent parrot. So if I read if I read enough stuff about what I want to talk about, then I can sound like I'm halfway intelligent on the subject matter. So I have spent a lot of time on this dope thing and this border thing, and I will tell you right now, straight up, right? We'll make this easy right now. I don't care who you like as a politician. I hate them. I promise you. I don't care who you like. I don't like them. So there's absolutely no reason for any of you to send me an email telling me that my political party is wrong, right? Because I don't have one. If you dislike the lifeboat, go ahead and send me an email telling me how bad you dislike my political party. Because as far as I'm concerned, this is the lifeboat party, right? My fear is that if we continue to allow dope across the border unabated at the rate it's coming in, that we're not going to have a country left to save, right? We're not. And this is, what happens here is coming to a city near you, right? I've got friends now all over the world. And you know what they all have in common? They're ex-drug addicts. Every single one of my friends is a recovering drug addict, right? All of them. I don't know anybody in my life that is not in recovery. So I know people in recovery all over Earth. And it's fentanyl right now. I don't care where you live. And it's not getting reported. The crisis at the border isn't getting reported much. The fact that we're losing 350 people a day is not getting reported. It isn't. And let me tell you how I know that. It happens so friggin' infrequently that when it is reported and the actual real number comes out, about 5 of you will always send it to me, right? By the way, I love that. Don't trip. Keep sending it, right? Because someday somebody won't. Keep sending it. But every single time that and I don't get enough of them, right? It just does not get enough of them. Maggie May says, question. Do this number here. How do you cope when you have a loved one who is so addicted to so many substances and is between homelessness and jail? I've had to distance myself from them, but it still hurts. You know what, Maggie? I'm the wrong guy again. I can tell you, I think, how to deal with someone who's addicted to so many substances, right? But I'm a convicted bank robber, drug addict, right? And I would probably go get him. And I'm not judging you for not, because I'm an ex-criminal, right? I would get a baseball bat and I would go get him, right? So whoever was nearby that was making it difficult for me to get them, I would hurt. Seriously, if I have a loved one that is that far off in the game, I'm really going to do everything within my power to get him out. But I'm not a good person. I probably end up arrested in the process. So if you're gonna play it straight, it is a very difficult thing to distance your. You can, but certainly you can't do it emotionally. I think that in any situation like this, the way that we cope is to make sure that we've done all that we can. And that threshold is different for everybody. And you can't judge what somebody else's all you can do is, right? Like I just said, for me, what all I could do would probably end me in jail. Thank God I don't have anybody in my family in that situation, right? And I'm the most annoying person in the entire world if you happen to live within my sphere of influence, right? Because I very much feel like if I don't have a conversation with you about fentanyl once a week, that I'm not doing my job. If you're in the world, if you're in that life, if you're close enough to that life to be in that life, if you're in that age group to be close enough to that life, or if you might accidentally at a party, even a dinner party where you're wearing a tie, say to somebody, you know what, I've got a vicious headache. You got anything in this house stronger than, say, Tylenol that you might be able to help me out with? Because I've got a really, really bad headache. Because these days, there's a chance that will kill you. There have already been enough horror stories about people who have, for one pill, because they were in pain, gave up their life. These stories are we're getting them more and more and more every day. I'm sorry, hold on. This is I'm doing this just for Aaron, trying to train him on the dead air thing. Sometimes you just got to have a little of it, because if you're talking and reading at the same time, you're probably not really getting exactly what you're trying to get out of it, right? I mean, you can do it, but Lady Tina, so I've been a very crabby patty. It's one of those things that even if you're like, there are catchphrases that if you put in your comment, you're probably going to get me. Krabby Patty is probably one of them. I spent a pretty long chunk of my life every single morning watching SpongeBob SquarePants at a prostitute's house. One of the greatest people I've ever met. Had a ridiculous heart. So one of the nicest people that I've ever met. But she had the ability to call a drug dealer to get heroin. I had robbed all of them in the city, and I'm fairly distinctive looking. You know what I mean? I'm tall and bald, right? And so it got very hard to get a bag. But she was one of those people that would say, every single morning I call this guy, right? I have to do it every single morning. I got to get mine. So just come by and I'll do it, and you don't have to give me anything for it. Or I used to buy her bag, but the only way to not sit and stare at your watch and wonder how long it's going to take for the dope man to get there is to put something on TV and try to get into it. And every single morning for a couple of years, we would sit there and watch SpongeBob episode after episode after episode until these delivery people showed up, never on time. But so Lady Tina and anyone else who struggles with the largest addiction on the planet. More people are addicted to food on planet Earth than are anything. At least that's what they're saying. I believe now it's the cell phone, but I will, until the CDC or whoever else decides that they agree with me, I will continue to say that food is the number one addiction in the world. And you're right. It's a tough one because you can't stop eating, right? It's not advisable. It has dire consequences. So what you have to do instead is moderate what you do. And Tina makes a great point. This is a tough concept, right? We don't ask anyone else to do this, right? If you were a bourbon drinker and we said this fifth of bourbon a day is going to kill you, we're going to have to get you down to 3 shots. That would be a very difficult thing to do. It would be next to impossible for most people within their drug of choice. Almost impossible. So it's a tall order when you have been using food as comfort, and you've been using food as a way to cope. Now, if you're new to the lifeboat, you can do anything on this planet to figure out a way to cope. Make no mistake. And it is absolutely amazing the things that people do to learn to cope, right? There are some very famous public speakers, some of the probably best public speakers in the world these days. And 2 of them that have really gained a lot of fame beat the hell out of themselves on stage for about the first probably 5 or 10 minutes that they're out there. They're making a fist and they are hitting themselves somewhere in the chest with it, right? And they are really, really giving it to themselves. And the idea is it's going to, your body kind of freaks out and goes, hey, why the hell am I getting punched in the chest? Because as we've talked about, the fear part of your brain and the eyes, although they answer to the same boss, they don't always have any idea what's going on with one another. This is why we stop and count to 10 when we get really, really pissed or we get really, really scared, right? It's our way of saying to the brain, I'm not being chased by anything, right? Because if there was somebody behind me with a hatchet, I probably wouldn't stop in my tracks. Take a deep breath and then count to 10. So in spite of the fact that my brain can't see that there's not a saber-toothed tiger or whatever behind me, it goes, well, if Tommy's taking really deep breaths, we're probably not in all that much danger, right? This is why breathing is a big deal. It's an important exercise, right? The struggle with with all of our lives is that we chose poorly in terms of how we were going to cope with what we did, right? People use pain, people use drugs, people use booze, people use gambling. Now, to a guy that sticks needles in his arms and puts cocaine or heroin in it, to understand the concept, to try to wrap your brain around the fact that the guy who goes into a sports book and puts $150 4-team parlay is doing the exact same thing as you are. That's very hard to wrap your dome around in the beginning, because in the beginning of this, we believe that we're addicted to our substance, that this substance has some magic hold over us. And make no mistake, it always is going to F you up for the rest of your life. You're never going to be able to recreationally use. You're not going to be able to, if you're addicted, right? And I don't mean dependent, or you're a guy that just drank way too much for about 2 or 3 years. No, if you've got the genetic disease, if you are an addict, you're not going to be able to moderate your usage. That doesn't happen. Don't send me an email tonight and tell me you're the guy that did. You know what I'll tell you, right? Yeah, you're not a drug addict. Right? You're not a drug addict. You're a drug addict. You couldn't do that. Right? It's not one of the methods that works. So we got to come up with another one. And people get into working out. It's huge. I have begun to do it again in earnest. I have started to basically work out the way that I used to in prison. And before any of you suggest something stupid, the reason for that is I had that really screwy thing happen with my heart, which made me want to lose a hell of a lot of weight, right? Because your heart works a lot less hard if you don't have extra weight on it. So I dropped about 30 pounds. And then when I got down to the 30 pounds that I dropped, I realized that I certainly didn't drop 30 pounds of anything. I dropped 30 pounds of muscle is what I did. And it's a bummer. And you start looking at yourself in the mirror and you're like, I used to look a lot better than this. So I started to work out again. And you know what? It's just another tool. It's an excellent one. Not everyone can do it. There are people who, for physical reasons, do not have the ability to work out the body. If that is the case, may I recommend that you work out your mind? Sorry, peeps. Hold on one second here. Monk! Monk. Good to see you, bud. Ms. Debbie. You know what? Debbie, it's so good to see you. Miss Debbie, I don't throw Miss Debbie's name in as often as I should, because Miss Debbie's been here forever. She really has. She's been here forever. In fact, Miss Debbie was here before I was here. When I used to do this kind of stuff on a different platform, because I actually did sort of do that for a few minutes. I think that's where I met Miss Debbie. Been a long time though. Been a long time. I'm always blown away that people come back. If you lose weight too fast, it's muscle, not fat. I think it certainly was the case. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Yeah, that certainly was the case with me. Right. I was definitely dropping muscle. I was 112 pounds when I went to rehab. Oh my goodness. You know what we would have called that, right? Right. In prison, those were schmeagles, right? The guys that used to come into prison and they were so spun that they looked a lot like Gollum. Everybody used to just sort of refer to them as schmeagles. And what was incredible was I went from 165 to 245 when I did my first bid. Yeah, I was about to say, what really is incredible is Squirrel. I cannot let you lay on the computer this morning, Key. Right? It's not going to happen. Yeah, that's one of the craziest things in the world is watching somebody come into the joint this big, right? Sucked up, no every bit of water taken out of their body, right? Really in bad shape. And all of a sudden, the dope's gone. And now this cat's eating 3 meals a day, right? And he's getting on the weight pile. And you see somebody come in that's a rookie that's never been to prison, and they'll puff up. And they'll puff up quick. But if you watch somebody that's coming back, like you're watching a guy that's coming in and doing his second or third rip, he just goes in about 3 minutes. The muscle memory is ridiculous. How fast a convict will come back. Like if he's done a 5-year rip and then he got out for 6 or 7 months or a year, and you get out, you fatten up because you can eat whatever you want, and you can eat whatever you want when you want, right? That does not happen in prison. In prison, what's the fascination today, Kitty? You just want to absolutely destroy this live feed. I love this cat, but boy, oh boy, she is on one. I almost have her, but in jails, I lost weight. You know what, Allie? Jails, that there's no food, and usually there's not a whole lot of equipment that you can work out. In the feds, we did not have a 3 or a 400 card because so many piles have been pulled, man. Russ, there are no piles anywhere. Nothing. I mean, like Phoenix has got a pile still. Tucson has a pile still. There are maybe 30 yards out of the 127 or whatever that still have a weight pile. Most of them don't have any. And some of them, like if you get to the United States penitentiaries now, they're really tripping out. If 2 guys work out together, you're cool. If it's 3 guys, you're a gang. Like they trip out. So what they were trying to do is eliminate mandatory workouts because the drill of mandatory workouts. Nothing. When one group of people starts working out together, they really start looking like some kind of paramilitary. It's not good, right? It's never good, and they get really panicky. What was funny was it was super racist in the beginning. I'm not kidding you. Like they had no problem whatsoever with 6 or 7 of any race getting together and walking the yard or doing push-ups or burpees or whatever, as long as they weren't white. But if 6 or 7 white boys got together, they would come on the yard. Like they would literally just come on the yard. But in the state joint, we had the 3 and 4. I never saw anybody get a 5. I saw names on the wall while I was in there, but I never saw anybody hit 5 while I was in there. But I got 3. I got 3 wheels, which is like 315, I think is what it came to. But that was a few years ago too. I don't think I would want to get on there. I would just donut now. But I'll tell you a funny story because this one used to crack me up. I would go out in the state joint. We had a ridiculous weight pile, right? The local university's football club, every single time they get new weights, they would drive their entire weight facility to the local medium yard. And so they had on one yard, they had 3 corners, right? That had full weight, upper body, lower body, sleds, everything, right? In 3 places. And then they had an inside gym. And there were some machines, there were a few of them, but most of this is just pig iron. Like this is just, rusty plates. And guys would be out there, in snowstorms and everything, because this becomes your coping mechanism. This becomes where you run and hide. That's sweet, Russ. Honestly, that's a lot of weight. It really is. I don't know if you guys have ever tried to bench press a crap load of weight. One of the funniest things in the whole world is they have these things that are like a half a pound, right? They're the teeniest little weights you've ever seen. They are 1/2 a pound. So you're adding 1 pound to your bench press. And it's so funny because you get out there and just feeling really good and say, I'm going to hit my max today. And you get under and right, you rack 300 pounds or 350, get it, and you feel good about it. And you're like, yeah, see that shit? Yeah. And they'll go, hold on. And they take out the 2 half-pounders, and we call them spirit busters, right? Because those little half-pounders will bust your spirit. Put one on either side and try the exact same thing, and you just go, right? Like your body has said, no, I can push up this. If you add 1.5 pounds on either side, this is not going to work. And I used to love doing that to kids who were new in the game, because I'd be like, you got this. Hold on, let's put these big ones on. And they'd be like, yeah, throw those on there. Man, when you get up by the top, it's just not working. You know what, Kathy? I'm glad you brought this up, man. I really am glad that you brought this up. This is an important one, people, because this is one that they're running with. right? This is a story that both sides are running with, right? For different reasons. This is a political story that both sides like. Here's the truth of the matter. Um, Fentanyl is ending up in a ton of over-the-counter medication, but you're not getting it over the counter. You don't have to worry about going in and buying this at Walmart. But it sounds sensational as crazy. They can make it sound that way because on one of the border towns, and I'm struggling now to remember which one it is. It might have been Sonora, and it could be it could have been the Nuevo Laredo. But anyway, one of the pharmacies on the Mexican side of the border sold some pills that killed, and they went and started buying these over-the-counter stuff at all of the pharmacies, and they had found fentanyl laced pills in 8 of the pharmacies, and I believe there were 11 of them. Right, so it is absolutely happening south of the border. They are counterfeiting medication and selling it in pharmacies. That's happening. It's real. So yeah, there's never been a case of it in the United States, right? However, once again, you're trying to move a crap load of product across about a 20-mile, stretch, right? So what they do is they come up with very creative ways to move it. And one of them is to turn this thing into very innocuous looking pills, right? If you can press, say, 2,000 bare aspirins that you can sell for $20 a piece. Squidward is such a happy soul. Well, I'm so glad that that there are so many of us that are so mature. Right? It says so much about us, doesn't it? I bring up SpongeBob and everybody's like, oh yeah, love SpongeBob. It is great humor. Do you get the humor? Because I'm telling you, the kids don't, right? I explained the whole concept of SpongeBob to my daughter Cedar, and she was like, what are you talking about? I said, you do realize why they're all weird and all of that, right? So we, the United States of America, we used to blow up our atomic bombs underground, right? That's how we did the vast majority of our tests underground, usually in Nevada. However, we didn't do all of them that way. We actually did bomb an island with a nuke, and we intentionally. It was called Bikini Atoll, and we nuked it, right? Basically, I guess to see, what kind of damage this could do to an island. That's the kind of curiosity that I'm sure somebody in our country needed to know. So we nuked Bikini Atoll. Underneath would be all of the crazy radiation from the nukes, right? And that would be Bikini Bottom, right? Underneath Bikini Atoll. And that was the joke that started the entire series of SpongeBob SquarePants. But I think a lot of that goes lost. When I told my daughter, she was like, yeah, I don't think that sounds real. Like, look it up, kid. I promise you that sounds real. The funny thing, too, just as an aside, but we nuked Bikini Atoll, and we were told that 10,000 years is how long it's going to be before anything is going to be able to go anywhere near that place, right? As it turns out, it is one of the largest, most thriving bird sanctuaries now on the planet because no predators can get there, right? Men are not allowed to get anywhere near that island, so the animals have taken it over. Can I say hi to your daughter, Rose? She is laying down with the absolutely happy morning, Rose. So glad that you're watching. That is an honor. And you know something? I've got a long association with that word. Rose is one of my absolute all-time favorite words. The mother of my children was named Rose. There have been many people in my life who have greatly affected me, who had the name Rose in one way or another. There were some Rosemarys, there were some different Roses, but for whatever reason, love the name. I am very happy that you're. I'm happy that you're hanging out with your dad. How cool is that? Right? That's what should be happening every morning. I think that's just so cool. Right? Very, very cool. CK says, guac. I've been in rehab 7 times. Couldn't eat. Maybe the agenda is to kill us off, addicts. I mean, with their lousy cooking. We are undesirables after all. CK, that's funny as hell. I'm sorry, it really is. The food is awful in rehabs, unless you're going to Betty Ford, right? If you're spending $1,000 a day, you actually get some really phenomenal food. I went to a couple of really spoiled rehabs, like the kind of rehabs that the Danny Mastersons of the world end up in, like those kind of rehabs. I've been to a few of them, and employers who are willing to pay all kinds of money to keep me on stage and stealing. They didn't want me. They didn't want me strung out. So I've been sent to a couple of really, really nice. I'd love to tell this story on the air. I just wonder how much trouble I could get in. I went to her. I think maybe I've already done this too. You know, you do the lifeboat long enough. I don't think there's anything I haven't said. I'm out of stories, people. I have nothing left from my life. It was only 53 years. No, I'm kidding. But I'm not. In all honesty. I went to a famous rehab. I went to a very famous rehab, and I got an actor that was actually my roommate. And he was an actor from, I'll tell you the movie he's in, but it was one of the dudes from Weekend at Bernie's was my roommate. And we got into this room, and as often happens in rehab, much like a prison, only a lot more friendly, you say hi to your roommate when you first get there, and you tell them a little bit about you, right? And in rehab, what you tell them is what you're addicted to, right? You don't need to tell them your crime because you're probably not busted for anything other than using, right? But I got in there and said, my drug of choice was heroin. And this dude recoiled like I had hit him with a baseball bat. I am going to go out on a limb and say I was the first person that ever used the word heroin in front of him in a way other than, you know, like, yeah, they talked about heroin in the movie or something like that. Like he recoiled. It was, you know, there was this kind of a look to him. And I said, yeah, you know, it didn't start that way. I started on pills, you know, but I ended up on heroin afterwards. I said, what are you in here for? And now this was a million years ago, by the way. So he was getting, and he was an actor, right? He probably had some connections, but he was getting alpha fentanyl, the real stuff, from like a pharmacist kind of real. And I looked at him and said, you're freaked out that I'm doing smack? I'm like, you don't think that powdered crap you're getting is heroin? I said, you can call it whatever you want, bro. Trust me, I've done a lot of it. I said, you and I are doing the exact same drug. And we got into this very large debate about this, how an opiate's an opiate, right? Well, this dude didn't particularly agree with me on this, right? So I did what any dirtbag drug addict would do, and I had my friend mail me in a care package. Now, this is a facility that is probably pretty used to people trying to get a little dope into their facility. This is not a small name. This is a name you would have heard of. But I didn't say to my friend, do me a favor and put a bunch of dope in an envelope and mail it to me. Like this is a convict, right? I had a friend. So I got Suave shampoo bottles, and I got, like, when you opened it, it was just absolutely filled to the top with hygiene stuff. So much, in fact, that I'm in the room freaking out, like tearing this stuff apart, trying to figure out which one had the dope in it. But what I got were teeny little balloon bags, a bunch of them, full of heroin. So I let my roommate put a little in a plastic spoon and snip it. And he found out that it is exactly the same thing as fentanyl. Like, he's absolutely bewildered. And then the look of panic got on his face that, holy hell, right? I'm a heroin addict. I'm just like this dude, right? So he proceeded to go to group, right? And the first group of the day was not mandatory. You had to do 3 a day, and there were 5. So there were 2 you could blow off. the morning and the second morning would be the ones that I would usually try to blow off so that I could sleep in as late as humanly possible. On account of the fact that I'm lazy and I was trying to recuperate. Hey, Johnny, good to see you. So I show up to group a little late, right? I didn't do the morning session. And I get there and they say, everybody goes around. Tommy, is there anything you'd like to share? And that's one of those things that as soon as it comes out of the woman's mouth, you go, oh, shit. Right? I got told on. the way she said it. Tommy, are you sure there's not something you would like to share? I said, no, I'm good. She said, we have reason to believe that you may have brought drugs into this facility. To which I responded, I have reason to believe that dude's a rat. Because he's the only person in the building that knows that. Did he mention he was doing it too? But he did, actually. That was what he did, is he mentioned that he was doing it. He went into group feeling very guilty and said, and that was the right thing to do, by the way. I didn't think that at the time, but that really was the right thing to do. I think he's still alive. Everybody from that film kind of just sort of dropped off with their career. So, but my assumption is that the guy's probably still alive. Lene said, Johnny started chasing the heat. I'm in love. Boy, it's hard to go wrong with that. And I saw a comment earlier about this. You know what? I just cannot do that. I'm really not very good at this. I saw a comment earlier where somebody said, Peppers does amazing things for them when it comes to pain release. My brother uses capsaicin as the way to treat pain. And my brother, he doesn't spend a ton of time talking about it on Chase the Heat, but Johnny's messed up. His back is, he's a basket case as far as like if you went to a doctor, Johnny doesn't walk real well. If you ever catch my brother if you don't see him just sitting in front of a camera or doing a stupid stunt that he probably shouldn't be doing, Johnny has beat himself up pretty good for your enjoyment. But capsaicin absolutely has analgesic effects. And if you don't believe it, Google how many companies use it commercially for pain management, right? It is a huge part of that industry is people who, are growing peppers who aren't growing peppers that anybody's ever going to eat. There are a ton of people out there that are cranking out capsaicin for a lot of other reasons, and it is amazing for pain relief. However, if you eat 8 super hots, they also can be really tough on your the cramps are just. If you've never had capsaicin cramps, you should have to once. I really am of the firm belief that you should have to have that once. And there's a woman that has a pepper channel, and she's kind of fallen off. She hasn't been putting up as much stuff, but she has a tolerance like nobody I've ever seen. She's a beast. The women always have a better tolerance than the guys. For real. Women take pain better. You have to by design, right? That it had to be that way because you do the heavy lifting and we do not. But I love this. I know way too many useless facts. Guacaholic, get a camera and sit in front of it, right? There are people making really good livings knowing nothing other than too many useless facts. So sad I missed the 5 p.m.s. So it has been great to see you all this afternoon. Have a great night. Much love. Oh, Tommy, tenor for the iPad. Thank you so much. Thank you. I actually, you know what? I have, you guys have sent enough money for the repair of the iPad. I just have not left the house to go get it done because it has been just absolutely ridiculous. But I am going to get that done. All right. You know what? Before you split, why don't you put up the name of the woman that I was talking about? Because I cannot think of her name. She's brunette, lovely girl, and really got a tolerance. And she did a pepper channel. She had a partner, and the two of them would do it together, and they would do a lot of hot sauces and things like that. However, I heard her say that And this is a woman that has eaten more peppers than probably 90% of the people you're ever going to meet on planet Earth. You know, unless you meet my brother or one of the other really heavy duty, people in the chili head community. The UK chili queen, no, I've never heard the UK chili queen say this, but I know the UK chili queen, and I should ask her because I bet I would hear a similar, if not the same thing. But Heat 101, thank you. That's exactly what it is. Capsaicin is the active ingredient in peppers that makes them hot. CK, that's what capsaicin is. Capsaicin was, go ahead and get offended at me, all right? Because we all believe what we believe, right? So you believe nature, you believe whatever you want. I happen to believe in God, right? So capsaicin was God's way to ensure that pepper plants actually survived, right? Because animals don't want to eat them, right? You're not going to go up and eat the fruit off of a pepper plant unless you do it the first time, right? It becomes kind of an accident, but you're not going to eat another one because that burning sensation, it will certainly protects the plant. Trouble with that is that's how seeds get spread in scat, right? The animal eats the seeds, they drop them out in a deuce, and very often that's where the next plant is going to take root. So, in his infinite wisdom, the creator made it so that birds don't have any problem at all with capsaicin. They can't taste it, can't feel it. That's why when you buy parrots bird feed, there are always hot peppers in it. Just throw it in there for weight. They can buy them cheap, and the bird doesn't know it, can't taste it anyway. They have absolutely no receptors at all for capsaicin. So birds have done a great job of taking the pepper plants to the four corners of the earth, and that's what capsaicin is. But Heat 101 said capsaicin cramps full blown are so much worse than childbirth. That's what that woman said. I promise you. And I thought, that's insane, right? This is a person that definitely knows, has a lot of kids, and has eaten a lot of peppers. So I have never given birth to a child. I'm probably not going to pull that one off in this lifetime. I am of the firm belief guys can't do that. I know, kind of insane, but I don't think guys can do that. Wrong equipment. The as far as it goes, though, I have had the worst cap cramps. Like I've had capsaicin cramps that, honestly, I've talked about this a lot on the air. I have spent a really I spent a really probably too much time. My digestive system is dealing with a vindaloo curry today. I don't know how you guys manage it. What it is you just deal with the pain. I promise you, there's nobody that's figured out cap cramps. There's nothing that. It's just one of those things that you have to endure and get through. And I'll tell you something, man. I was stupid enough. If you're really new to the lifeboat, that the week before the lifeboat went live, and if it wasn't the week, no, it wasn't the week before. It was the week that the lifeboat went live. I did a stunt, right, to try to bring attention to the lifeboat. It's the only reason I did it. And I took one of my brother's tube of terrors, Johnny Scoville's tube of terrors, and I tried to break the world record for eating the fastest tube of terror. Right? Normally, you have 10 minutes to get it down, and then you're not allowed to take any water afterwards for 5 minutes. Right? They call it an afterburn or a suffer session. Right? So you're not allowed to do anything to take it. If you're going to do the challenge and do it right, you got to do the suffer session. So I'm doing this on a talk show. And I had brought a bottle of tincture that at the time was called Tommy's tincture, and it had a picture of me on the front of it with a Robbie dropper. There was an actual candid shot that someone had taken of me doing a full Robbie dropper of some really hot stuff. Anyway, I got the tube of terror down in about 53 seconds, I believe is what it is. And if not, one of my faithfuls will correct me, but I'm pretty sure it was 53 seconds. And shortly afterwards, I had a couple of other really heavy-duty chili heads on with me. And shortly thereafterwards, someone said, "You beat your brother's record by like a minute," right? And my mouth was so dry. And and it hurts so badly. Seriously, the pain inside my mouth. And I know I'm sitting on camera and I'm not going to be able to go to the bathroom. I'm not going to be able to throw any of this up or do any of that. This is like a 1 hour show. So I'm going to get capsaicin cramps. This is not coming back up. I'm not going to be able to dodge this bullet. And even if you throw up, you're not going to dodge the calf cramps, but you'll just dodge a portion of them. But I said, in my brother's defense, he didn't drink anything, right? My brother did 10 tubes of terror, but when he did the speed run, he didn't drink anything afterwards. And the guy that I was on the air with said, "You haven't either." I said, "No, but I really need 5 minutes." So I opened the bottle of Tommy's tincture that I had brought, which by the way was spiked. It was called Jacked Up, was the name of the tincture. There are people who only want the flavor of the pepper and they don't want you to add anything to a tincture. They just want it to be pure capsaicin taken off. No, man, like that wasn't Tommy's tink. The Jacked Up had like a half a gram of capsaicin crystals on it, like thrown in on top of it after everything was done. Like Jacked Up was not the tincture to do this with. And I drank the entire bottle. And later that night, I swear to you, my body went like this. it just folded up like a wallet. My knees came like this, and it just, over the course of about a minute and a half, my knees just came up to right underneath my chin, and I could not straighten my body out for all of the tea in China. There was no chance. I wanted so badly to go to the hospital, but I was laying in my room, and the cell phone was far enough away from me that I couldn't get it. Like it was, and I'm not talking about 30 feet, you know what I mean? It was probably, I don't know, 4 feet away, but I'm not exaggerating in the slightest. I just went and folded up like a wallet. And the pain was so unbelievable that when that session of app cramps was done, I was laying on a blue sheet, and I had put a sweat ring where my body was on the blue sheet that went out probably 3 feet. So there was about this much on the corners of the bed that I had not sweated up over the course of this. God, it was so bad. It was so bad. If you've never done it, it is such an exquisite pain that you should probably try it at least once. Just to say that you did, because it is same thing with the tube of terror, right? If you've never eaten a death nut peanut, go ahead and eat one. It makes watching people try to do it, the challenge, so much more fun. When you realize just how rugged one of those peanuts is, to see somebody eat like 30 of them or 100 of them or something. Yeah, my brother did 10 of those tubes. I promise you that would kill me. The capsaicin cramps that he got from that, my brother has beat the crap out of himself more than anybody I have ever met for the entertainment of others. For real. If you think about what he does, my brother has spent the last 7 years in cramps. That's no joke, people. He has eaten peppers every single day of his life. Documentable. No way to argue this. He has eaten peppers every single day of his life for the last 7 years. And it's been a lot longer than that, but he's been filming it for the last 7 years. And, some of them, like the plutonium videos, if you guys have never seen my brother do the plutonium, before Johnny did this, the plutonium challenge, you took a toothpick and you dipped it into this stuff until it was covered. And it looks like Vegemite almost, right? It has the same kind of color and consistency almost of Vegemite. So you would put the toothpick in, and then you would have to lick that toothpick clean. I've done that with plutonium. I've done that challenge, and it is painful. This has a ludicrous amount of sting and heat in it. And my brother took it and put it inside a thing of boiling water to liquefy the stuff on the inside of it and drink it. And that put him in the hospital. That was the only time that Johnny has ever that he had to go to the hospital. That one really, really jacked him up. So because he's Johnny, he did it again. He did another, there's 3 altogether, I think. But the third plutonium video is the one where he came out and said, a year ago, I quit drinking, 365 days ago today, and I'm an alcoholic. And it was absolutely the greatest video that my brother's ever done. And it was obviously, for me, it was It was a really big deal. But he didn't just come out and tell the world that he had a drug problem. He gargled with, I'm not kidding you. He poured this stuff back and went, gargled with it. And yeah, he paid all the way around for that. But he does beat the crap out of himself for your entertainment. Squirrel is about to turn off the show. So I'll tell you what, I'm Captain Tommy Scoville. I'm going to see you tonight. That's Squirrel. Get it. If you're gonna do it, Cat, you got to do it. Get it. You got 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 it.